Megan.
Yeah, Mark Allen reached out to KDKA because he wanted to know if he was alone in this stressful search. And he hoped we could help him get in touch with a pharmacy that has his diabetes medication in stock. Good luck finding the top-selling diabetes medication, Mounjaro. The FDA says the shortage will now last at least through the end of April.
As of April 2nd, 2024, Lilly, the makers of Mounjaro, or tirzepatide, or also Zepbound, via spokesperson issued this statement. While we anticipate availability in the near term due to unprecedented demand, we expect our investments in manufacturing and supply capacity to progressively increase production of Mounjaro and Zepbound throughout the second half of 2024. You can find updates on the supply status of these medicines on the FDA drug shortage database. Let's talk about this. So this video is titled, I Can't Get My Mounjaro. What do you do? Now this video can apply for those that are both on Mounjaro and Zepbound because they are both the same exact drug, tirzepatide, just FDA approval for prescription purposes. So let's talk about this. So you either have Mounjaro, you're doing that now, or you want to start, but you can't get it. Now, what do you do? Thanks for watching this video. My name is Jocelyn. I'm 46. I have type 2 diabetes. I'm also taking Mounjaro. This has been insane. I have seen people scrambling to find these two medications, and you may be in the same situation. I just started this medication, so I understand how wonderful it has been for me. And I can understand the fear that people have and the need to find this drug as fast as they can. You have come here to get a little piece of advice, and hopefully I got some for you. It is getting very challenging that people are giving up altogether. Some people I've read, they said, I haven't been able to get it since January, and I'm just done. Or they're switching to another GLP-1 drug like Ozempic or Wegovy. I've been reading that doctors are becoming so frustrated with the denials and all of the issues and the prior authorizations that they're refusing to do any prior authorizations. Some pharmacies are saying they're not even going to carry it anymore. Patients are saying that they're having to drive 2 hours just to pick up one box, and they're going around and contacting multiple pharmacies. Man, I know it's getting frustrating. I get it. I would rather eat my big toe than stop taking this drug. So, yeah. Anyways. Now, please take this as advice and not gospel. This may or may not work for you, and you should always consult your medical healthcare provider before making any changes to your medications. So before we begin, I'm going to tell you the first thing that we should do. Did you figure it out yet? Let's take a deep breath. Mounjaro is a drug, or Zepbound, that is helping us to get better health. It isn't a drug that if we don't take the dose, we will not survive. There are plenty of people in the world that have to take a medication, and without it, they can have serious medical complications or even death. We are lucky. We are not the ones. Think about people who have to take insulin for their diabetes and their bodies don't make insulin at all. People who need insulin don't have it. They can die from hyperglycemia within days or weeks. That's not us. So let's just start there. We're lucky. Second, put your request in for the refill in now. If you're already prescribed Mounjaro or Zepbound, don't wait until a few days. No, most of the time you can wait a few days. I'm about to be out of my medication. I'm just going to go ahead and fill it up now. Think of it like I'm your mama, and she's saying, and we've all heard our mama say this, I told you not to wait till last minute to do this. Don't wait till last minute to do this. Depending on what's going on, it may be available now, but by the time you refill it, your dosage might be in back order, but another one isn't. So let's just go ahead and do this now. I get my Mounjaro through Express Scripts. I got my first dosage on February 21st, and I received a 3-month supply. I put in a refill on April 6th, and I got a message that said, it is too soon to fill this medicine. We'll start processing your order on the 18th. That gives me enough time to look for an alternative, maybe try some of these other things below if my 5 milligram dosage that I'm on is not available. Now, let's look at the FDA website, because that's one thing they told us to do, was to look at the FDA website to see about what is their shortages and stuff. So let's look here. All you have to do is do FDA drug shortage and it'll pop up. Nothing that you have to, Google or anything like that. Nothing big serious. it'll ask for, it says search by generic name or active ingredient. So don't put Mounjaro, don't put Zepbound. I've already tried, don't work. Put TIR, tirzepatide. Do submit, and there it is. You click it up, and tirzepatide is either Mounjaro or Zepbound. Mounjaro is for people who have type 2 diabetes. Zepbound is for those for obesity and weight loss. Now, if you see here, the 5 milligram, the 2.5 is says it's available for Mounjaro, and the 5 milligram for both. No, actually, what is it? 2.5 is available for both, either Zepbound or Mounjaro. 5 milligrams is the only other dose that's available for the Mounjaro. 5 milligrams is not available. It appears to be in or limited availability. Has limited availability, but the other higher dosages, and it looks like the 12.5. Was that it? Yeah, the 12.5 for both drugs are both have limited availability. Now, you're probably going to say, well, Jocelyn, I'm on 5 and I can't get it. So you are absolutely right. This is only, you can only take it with a grain of salt, and it may not be applicable to where you live. When I first got prescribed it, I was prescribed 2.5. Now, I'm not quite sure how the pharmacy made the choice or decision. Maybe they just called the doctor and was like, we don't have 2.5. Can we give her the 5? And so I actually was originally prescribed the 2.5, and it looks like it wasn't available. And so I was given the 5. Yes, this may not be absolutely true, but it gives you some ideas of what we have, right? It is what it is. The third is to ask the pharmacy what they have. And we'll talk a little bit more about I want you to ask for both the Mounjaro and the Zepbound, and we'll talk a little bit more about an option if either one. You can call, but I can imagine what these pharmacies are going through. People calling them all the time for these drugs. They're probably getting really frustrated. I would suggest, if you can, maybe get in the car, go when it's not too busy. Maybe after lunch when people aren't so grouchy, because I know when I'm hungry, I'm mean. So you might want to go like after lunch. I wouldn't go maybe at the beginning of the day, because everyone's trying to get started and they're trying to get things going. After lunch, people are kind of nice. Right before lunch, you're kind of like mean and grouchy. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to get out the door. So I would say maybe go after lunch and stop by if you can. Now, I know that some people have got transportation issues or it's way too far. Luckily, I live in a suburb area and right next to Atlanta, Georgia. So it's very easy for me to drive to probably 50 pharmacies in a day. That's a little bit dramatic. I'd probably drive to a dozen pharmacies in a day. Now, so if you do have the option to call, if that's all you have, of course, call, ask them what they have available. But just being in front of somebody, they may be just a little bit kinder, but whatever they do, just be kind. So before I go on, I would greatly appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up and like it if you like this sort of content. All right. So let's talk about some next things. So fourth, we're going to have a conversation with our doctor. Ask your doctor for a new prescription. So Mounjaro looks like the only options are to go down. So if you're up to 12, you can go down to the 5 or the 2.5, but your pharmacy may have 7.5. So you can ask them, your doctor, for a new prescription. Now your question might be, well, Jocelyn, what happens if I ask for a 5 milligram and then later on the 7.5 becomes available and I've now just gotten a 3-month dosage? Okay, so now this is kind of the basics, the way that health insurance works. This may be a little bit different depending on your insurance plan and whether or not you've met your deductible and your co-pays and all this kind of stuff. When you get a new prescription for a different dosage, it is a brand new prescription. We're going to say all other things are laid the same. We're going to say you've met all your deductibles and blah, blah, and all the things. I know the stuff about the cards, the discounts are kind of crazy and stuff like that. We're going to say all that stuff is just balanced out and there's not even any taken into consideration. That it's all worked itself out. If you get that new prescription, that is a brand new prescription and it's not going to count towards you. And because, if you go too early, let's say, if I was to go and I said, oh my gosh, I want my Mounjaro right now. They'll say, well, okay, sometimes the pharmacy, depending on the cost of it, the pharmacy will say, oh, sure, I'll give it to you, but the insurance isn't going to cover it. That's the issue. The insurance is going to cover them to give it. But if you're like, I want it now, and I don't mind paying out of pocket, they're like, some drugs are like $20. And they're like, okay, sure, you can get another one if you want to. Of course, it just depends. Controlled substances are a little bit different. But that's the issue. But what happens is when you get a new dosage, it's a new prescription. So the same thing. So if you had I don't know why it's different. Like my first one was $25 for 3 months. I was like, hot dog. Now it's $75. Okay. Still, I'm not going to complain. I've heard people paying $500 for a box for 1 month. So what would happen would be, it's April, you get the doctor to write you a new prescription for 5 milligrams. Let's say it's $100 copay. May, you find out that the 7.5 that you really want is back in. The doctor writes you another 7.5. You're not going to pay $1,000 out of your pocket. That really supposed to go, but double check, right? Everybody's different. You should only pay the $100 copay or whatever deductible that you would be responsible for. So you can get them to write a new prescription. The options for Zepbound seem to be a little bit more generous for going up and down. So, that's a little bit better for you guys. The fifth, have another conversation with your doctor. Ask them if they have any recommendations for other drugs, especially if you've been going through this a while, you're tired, you're like, no one has this. It may be time to look for something else, maybe like Ozempic, Wegovy, Trulicity. Or ask them if you're just getting started and it's starting to have the issues with the supply. You might want to ask, how long can I wait? How long do you think it should wait? And then we'll talk about some alternatives from switching to Mounjaro to Zepbound in a second. The sixth one, ask the doctor for a prescription for tirzepatide. And some pharmacies, okay, I've read this. Take it with a grain of salt. You could try. The worst I can do is say no, right? What they're doing is they're suggesting that people go to their doctor and asking for a prescription for tirzepatide. Now remember, we just looked up tirzepatide under the FDA's website, and it is both Mounjaro and it is Zepbound. They're the exact same drug. And this is going to be important for those who say, I don't want to switch the dosage. I like my 10 milligrams, and that's what I want. So what people are having to, what some pharmacists are able to do is take that tirzepatide and fill it with either one of the drugs. So let's say, for example, you need 5 milligrams of Mounjaro, and you go into the pharmacy and you hand them the prescription and it says tirzepatide. So what the pharmacist might be able to do is, because they're both tirzepatide, the pharmacist can sometimes get you the Zepbound for 5 milligrams and instead of giving you the Mounjaro for 5 milligrams. So that is an option. Again, speak to your doctor about any of those sorts of things. These are just ideas. The only one that I have worked is just putting in the refill, and I'm waiting. I'll see if it's coming. And if it's coming, or if I need to wait or what I'm going to do, but I'll try some other stuff if it comes to that. I hope this shortage goes away. Even so, I have survived 20 years being overweight, obese, and with type 2 diabetes. We are going to be okay. I know that each person is different, and I know that I can't say that I've been okay, so you're okay, and I know it's really frustrating. But I hope I provide a little help and some ideas for you. All right. If you have any other suggestions, please put those in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.